Hey y'all, it's Ashley Janae, Love and Relationship Coach. And today I wanted to talk about why choosing a feminized man is not a good idea. So when I talk about masculinity, femininity, and polarity in relationships, sometimes it elicits a very charged reaction from women, because women, unfortunately, a lot of times hear femininity or hear the terms alpha man and things like that, and they feel instantly oppressed. It triggers this oppression response in them where they feel like that implies that they are lesser, that they will not be treated well, that they will be dictated over and treated poorly. And that is not what it means at all. I think we have to be careful about the meaning that we associate with certain terms, because it really just points to a trigger. It doesn't point to truth. It points to a fear. And that fear is activated by you hearing that word, but that doesn't mean that the fear is valid in its association with that word. It's just what you feel. It's just what it stirs up in you when you hear that term. So, but when I talk about masculinity and femininity, a lot of women feel like, okay, well, I don't want to be relegated to just this certain role. I'm fine, with being the leader. I'm fine with paying the bills. I'm fine with being, in charge and all of that. So one reason why that becomes an issue is women do best with men that they respect. And it's really hard to respect a man who is not in a leadership role with you, especially if it's an intimate, personal relationship. If you are someone's boss at work, I think you have, if you are like a decent person, you have a certain general level of respect for your employees, for anyone who works for you, but there's not that level of reverence like you would with your boss. You revere someone who's in a position of authority over you. There's certain lines you won't cross. Sometimes you will address them with an honorary term like, sir or Mr. or, whatever, your honor, officer, whatever the case may be. So if you are in a position of leadership over your man, there's a lack of respect there. It's just facts. That's just what it is. You're not going to have that reverence for him. Now, that doesn't mean that in certain things in life that you aren't more, I'd say, more inclined or more talented, or maybe that is your realm, that's your area. I'm not saying that you won't each have your separate things that you are better than the other at, or where you would be more of the more seasoned person, the more senior person on that topic. But in general, when it comes to the leadership and running of your household, if it is you and you do have a man in your life, there is automatically going to be a lack of respect there. I believe in our internal wiring, we just know that that's not right. It just doesn't feel good. Even if you're capable, even if you feel like things are better in your hands than in his hands, that points to a bigger problem, because that shouldn't be the case, number one. So you have to look at who you chose and how you're showing up and, why that's the case. But the bottom line is, it shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't be the leader. It should be your husband. He should be the leader of the household, and you should feel confident in his leadership. So, but that's another video for another time. But if you choose a man who you are leading, or who you have the more masculinized qualities, and you are more so the doer, the provider, the overseer, the organizer, the one who handles the business and all of that, you will have a lack of respect for him. And you will encourage him to not only stay in those feminized qualities, he will become lazier and lazier. You'll start to feel like you're his mother, You'll start to feel resentful, like you can't ever rest, everything is on you, it's too much, you're not getting the help you need, your needs aren't being met. It can even be embarrassing, on top of the stress associated with you still kind of needing to fulfill that feminine role of, the domestic stuff and being the provider, and still kind of meeting a man's expectations of, wanting a hot wife who is, sexual and sensual and, soft and all of that. It's really hard for you to be both. So you can't be in your optimal zone if he is not. But again, if you're the one watching this video, then you would be the leader in terms of getting that ball rolling, because you're the one that is receiving the information right now that is going to change things around in your situation. So you start inspiring and influencing how your man shows up by you embodying the feminine energy. It automatically pushes him more into his masculinity without you even saying anything. Just start pulling back, stop trying to be the president of the relationship. And another reason why you don't want to choose a man who is more feminized is because ultimately he will resent the fact that he doesn't feel like a man with you. Men know, just like women know, that they are supposed to be the leaders, and it doesn't feel good. It's bad on their self-esteem when they are being completely emasculinized or emasculated, by their woman. They are being made to look and feel incapable, not trusted, and incompetent. And there are some women who really feel that about their man, and that's an issue too, because again, it plays into the respect, and that is one of men's primary needs, is to feel respected by their woman. And if they don't feel respected, chances are they're not going to give you the love that you so crave and desire. They're not going to be as devoted to you and to pleasing you because they don't feel respected and they're resentful. So how they feel plays into how they end up showing up for you and how you ultimately feel in the relationship. So choosing a man who is in a more feminized role, ultimately, you'll probably end up with your heart broken, because he might either be lured into a situation or tempted by a situation where he does feel like the man, where there is a woman who kind of looks at him with those knight in shining armor eyes, who shows him that reverence as a leader. A lot of times it's a woman who doesn't know him as intimately, so she doesn't know his dirty little secrets and his flaws, and she doesn't hold that against him. She just sees him as, a man. And that is what men consciously and or subconsciously crave, is to feel like a man, to feel powerful, to feel like that guy, to feel like a king. And when you create that type of environment with a man, he becomes addicted to being in your presence, and pleasing you and getting that positive feedback from you becomes intoxicating for him. And that is how you as a woman end up getting what it is you want. Is he loves to please you. He loves to be in your presence. So then you don't have issues like he's not calling, he's not texting, he doesn't want to provide for me, he doesn't want to do the things that I need, he's not taking care of me or the kids or the household or whatever. What kind of environment, what kind of vibe is there between the two of you? And there's men out there that weren't taught this. This is kind of subconscious programming. It is wired into who we are as men and women, as masculine and feminine beings, but we each have a yin and a yang side, and some of us women are a little bit more in tune with our yang side, which would be like the masculinized qualities, and there are some men who are a bit more in tune with their yin side, which would be the more feminized qualities. And and this happens for various reasons. Not going to get into that just because I don't want to get too far off topic. But bottom line is it happens, but it messes up the polarity in the relationship because it's reversed. There's always going to be a more masculine-esque energy and a more feminine-esque energy. And when it's flipped, when the masculine energy in the relationship is the woman and the feminine energy in the relationship is the man, the polarity is reversed, and it is basically like a neutralizer to attraction. And it ends up building resentment on both sides because subconsciously we know something's not right here. You know, the man feels like the woman has his balls in her purse, or like he can't do anything. He is not, the master of his own life or his own family. He subconsciously feels like a failure, feels like less than. And that is really not a good thing, especially when you want a man to show up for you at his best. It's important that he feel a certain amount of reverence, power, that he be in a certain position where he feels good about himself, where he feels capable, where he feels trusted and respected. And when that doesn't exist, you're not going to get the king. You're oftentimes going to get the man-child or the jester in this situation, because he's not at his best. He's not in his king energy. So again, choosing a man who is not activated in his masculine energy, number one, if you are in your yin energy too much, in your yang energy too much, and you're too masculinized, you're going to attract feminized men. So that's one reason why you need to do your work around femininity, to balance the polarity and start attracting more masculinized men, because masculine men don't want masculinized women. They want feminine women. So if you're not attracting masculine men, chances are you are a masculinized woman, or something else is going on with your ability to attract men. But a lot of times it is due to being masculinized. Sometimes it's not taking care of yourself, not reflecting the value that you hope to convey in that dating marketplace. And that can be related to your physical appearance, how you talk about yourself, your demeanor, the energy you carry, whether you are more positive or negative, all of that. But we're just talking about masculine and feminine energy right now. So yeah, a lot of masculinized women attract feminized men. They attract men who want or need leadership from strong women, or they don't know how to lead. So the woman ends up being the leader. And while it may come naturally to you because you are just comfortable in your masculinized type of energy, you're more comfortable in your yang energy than your yin energy, you eventually resent that, especially in your romantic relationship, because it wears you out. And one thing that has not changed is men still have a lot of the same expectations from women. What has changed is women are now capable and able to do a lot more than they used to hundreds of years ago. We now hold seats at the table in the corporate world or in the business world. We now have advanced educations, and we are earning top dollar. We're right next to men in terms of, feeling like we are smart, capable of running companies and businesses and being leaders. And we're not just focused on the household and the family the way that we used to be. But men still expect that. So what we've done is doubled our work in favor of wanting to be equal and do the things that men do. Because men have never changed what they wanted to be and the role they wanted to fill. Men don't want to be the feminine partner. They don't want to be that domestic person in the relationship. Now, there are men who will wash dishes and change diapers, and there are even stay-at-home dads, but that is not the norm, and we all know that. There are not a lot of men who want to do traditionally the stuff that women would normally do. So let's just keep it real and not, go off on exceptions to the rule. You don't want to operate off of thinking that your relationship will be an exception. I mean, if you're in a relationship and doing that and it works for you, then great. This video really isn't for you. This is for women who do want to be in that feminine role. They want to be cherished, provided for, taken care of, and all of that. But they're choosing or attracting feminized men. And when I say feminized, I'm not talking about a man who wears heels and makeup. I'm talking about men who are not activated in their masculinity. They are not activated in their leadership. They're not dominant, and you don't respect them. They have not been raised or taught or mentored to be fully embodied in their masculine energy. Those men are going to be very difficult for you to be and rest in your feminine energy with, because they are in their feminized energy. And like I said, ultimately they end up resenting you. They get tired of feeling like that. It may be cool for a while. It may feel convenient. It may be easy for them. But, all they need is a taste of being activated in their masculinity by being around a more feminine woman and start getting curious. Or even if he's a man of character and he's not, or a man of integrity and he's not going to step out on the marriage, the bottom line is he will become increasingly dissatisfied in the relationship where he feels like the feminine partner. He feels like a child, or he doesn't feel respected. He doesn't feel like the man. And conversely, a lot of times the woman is becoming resentful too. So then you see a breakup. You see that the reversed polarity in the relationship has caused a breakdown. And a lot of this can be fixed with being mindful of the energy that you embody and who you're choosing. And one way that you can attract better, more suitable partners is to be fully embodied in your feminine energy as a woman. When you embrace that side and stop looking at your yin energy as weakness, or like it's lesser, or like it limits you, and start seeing it as actually one of the best kept secrets and superpowers that there is, you will get amazingly different results with men. It will be mind-boggling. And it's not what we've been taught. It's not what we've been encouraged to do. It's not the narrative that society pushes, but we can see by the divorce rate, we can see by the rate of single parent households and single mothers, and a lot of the frustrations that are expressed by people who are in the dating world now, that the advice we've been given is not the best advice. There are some advancements that have really served us well. Like, I'm sure women are very happy to have equal rights under the law and to be able to go to school and be educated and work and earn money and all of that stuff. But I think it's possible we jumped into that with both feet and didn't keep in mind that there are still relationship dynamics that have to be considered and managed. And women underwent the biggest change as a result of women's rights, but not men. So we have been able to take on more and find more personal fulfillment outside of our role in the family and things like that. But we still have the same expectations that men are looking for when they marry a woman. We still have to be that feminine energy. We still have to be that feminine partner in the relationship and that mother in the household, and they still largely expect the same things from us that they always have. It's just now we have to do that and work outside the home and be in school and keep our body together and, be nice and kind and soft and loving and sexual and, all the things. So we've taken on more. We can do it. It's not easy. And that's why a lot of women, choose one and not the other. Because it is a lot to do both and to switch back and forth. Especially when you're not taught how to embody the feminine side of things. You're more so taught and encouraged to go to school, to be out there to compete, to win, to be the greatest, to achieve that success outside of the home. And ultimately, the type of energy you embody affects the type of partner that you attract. And if you attract a partner who is more feminized, or you attract men who aren't great leaders and you feel smarter than them, you feel like, you are superior to them in some way because of how smart you are, because of the type of money you earn, because of the common sense you possess that they don't, or that you feel they don't, or whatever the case may be, you're not going to be able to respect a man like that. And respect is going to be key to him feeling endeared to you, to him devoting to you, and him giving you everything that you desire from a partner. And it's because, most women do not like feminized men in a romantic way. And most men do not like masculinized women. The ones that tell you that they do, that's not the type of man you want. Because a lot of times they're looking to be taken care of, and they are in many ways incompetent or not confident in their leadership. Because if you think about it, a strong leader, a very capable man who is knowledgeable and powerful and fully activated in who he is as a man, aligned with the Most High and his purpose, he doesn't need his woman to lead him. He needs his woman for something different. He is fully tuned in and receiving his guidance from the divine. He's receiving his assignment and his steps from God. He's receiving what the family needs to do and the direction the family needs to go from God. So he doesn't need his woman to lead him. He is assuming the role of being responsible and leading the family. And that's the kind of man that a lot of women want. But some women don't make room for that man in her life because she won't give up the reins. She won't give up the wheel. She, out of a place of fear or mistrust, she doesn't feel like she can trust a man to lead her. But if you've been attracting feminized men, then that is a big reason why. Because you've been attracting men who aren't capable of leading you. And it's because you're activated in your masculine-esque energy, and or you have some of the other issues going on that I mentioned that are affecting attraction between you and fully embodied masculine men. So just some things to consider. There are women who will push back on this because they've either chosen a man who they know is more in his feminine-esque energy, and they'll say they're okay with it. They'll say they don't mind. He's very nurturing, and he's very heart-centered and soft with her. That's not feminized energy. That's him being loving and devoted. We're not talking about saying that masculinized men aren't loving and caring toward their wives. They very much are, because you are so precious to them, because they love and cherish you. They naturally are going to always act in your best interest, even to the point where they have to sacrifice what they want for your good. It's almost like, in a way, how devoted parents are to their children. Like, as parents, we will deny ourselves what we want. We will give our last to our kids. We will, do things we don't want to do for our kids because we love them. It's that same kind of devotion. So don't think that by saying alpha or masculine man, we're talking about a man who rules with an iron fist and is impenetrable and just a cold-hearted dictator. That's not the case. And again, that's a way that, the narrative has spun things to turn masculinity into something bad and negative. And you just have to educate yourself a bit more on what masculinity and femininity truly look like before you make a judgment about one being good or bad or toxic or, whatever the case may be. Because a lot of times what people are calling toxic masculinity is not masculinity at all. It's something else. But again, that's another video for another time. But I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I think I've gotten my point across. I'm trying not to go too long. So you all let me know what you think. If you're a woman, have you dated a man who was a bit more feminized? Even if, he was like, your stereotypical man's man on the outside, how he acted, how he behaved, how he showed up in the relationship, how he treated you. Did it feel feminized? And if so, how was that experience for you? And do you recognize yourself as a woman who's a bit more in her yang energy and feels a little bit more masculinized, and find yourself always being the leader, the boss, the person in charge, the one handling everything, the go-to, the rock, all of that? Do you identify with that? And if so, how does that feel for you? And is that an energy you want to continue to embody, especially in your romantic relationships? Let me know. And if you are interested in learning more about how to embody your feminine energy as a dynamic, successful woman, I do have a webinar that I will be hosting this Saturday, November 20th, 2021, in my private Facebook group. And it is free. And I will be giving away some golden nuggets. So you'll want to be there if you're interested in learning. Just send me a message. I believe there's a link in my bio that you can click on to send me an email or send me a direct message. Or actually, I believe I have on my link tree, I have the link to the Facebook group, so you can just send a request and I can approve you. It is a private group and there are no men in the group, so it's a safe space where we can, chit chat and be open and honest. And I look forward to sharing a lot of the things that I've learned, the things that I know, the things that I've actually walked out in life and learned through experience, and kind of condensing that and making it easy to digest, and giving it to you so that you can use it for your benefit. And if you're interested in working with me or talking to me a bit more about your personal situation, you can also book a free consult call with me. That is also in the link in my link tree where it says book a consult call. And I look forward to serving you and connecting with all of you ladies. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and stay safe and take care. Bye for now.